Leave me alone.
Most importantly, a godly man is always before whatever color they are.
Godly black.
It's godly first, then black.
Y'all can come my way.
I know the title is a little bit rage baiting and it might be a bit divisive as well, but stick with me. I'm trying to get your attention to have a conversation about something that has gotten a little bit ridiculous. Let's get into it.
To another video, cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya.
Okay guys, so I have to be entirely honest with you what inspired this episode, and it was Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya, she's a TikToker. She blew up on TikTok quite quickly due to her like quick, sort of easy to make gourmet style food that she was promoting online, how she cooked it. She did it in her apartment, and she was also
Cooking with Kaya.
shaking that nyash. She was appealing to men and male sensibilities with some of the lines that she was saying.
One of y'all boyfriends last week asked me did I know how to make smothered turkey wings, so I thought I'd share my recipe. Welcome to another video, Cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya, cooking with Kaya.
And she ended up getting a lot of backlash, particularly from black females, but females in general. And shout out to my guy FD Signifier. He was one of the people responding to the backlash, but I've seen more people responding to backlash than the backlash itself. It's really strange with Cooking with Kaya. Even to be honest with you, I'd only seen Cooking with Kaya a couple of times, and I'd seen some sort of weird spin-offs, kind of white bearing versions of her more than anything. However, it made me think she was mostly supported by black men.
Shaking, are you okay?
I never did this before.
Hold on to the meat with one hand.
Say what?
Hold on to the meat with one hand.
She was not only mostly supported by black men, but also celebrated by black men mimicking her, going out of their way to kind of like celebrate her. And I think on TikTok being general, and not just TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, social media, black men celebrating black women is quite rare. And anytime black men are celebrating women, it tends to be white women. More on that later.
Out with a Snow Bunny Crisis Therapy Manual for Black Males. I'm working on a Snow Bunny Crisis Self-Treatment Manual for Black males. I'm working on a Snow Bunny Crisis.
And I thought, do black women just hate black men? Have we been manipulated into hating each other constantly? These gender wars, these relationship wars that go online. Has this happened?
Why do you struggle to date a girl in Africa then? Why do you struggle? Because I told you, it's beyond money. It's a social thing. I am gone. Why do I struggle? I'll tell you why I struggle. The reason why you struggle is because you can't handle a black woman. Fam. I can't handle a black woman. Facts. That's just what it is. That's the main reason.
Gabs, he's on you! He's on you!
But before we get into all of that, please do me one quick favor. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like the content, outraged by the content. Hit the like button, subscribe. It costs you nothing and it costs me everything. It does wonders for my self-esteem.
Yo, hey man, pull your skirt down, B.
That perhaps is the most honest thing I've ever said on YouTube. Mental. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Do your brother a favor.
Did you have to work when you were married?
No, but I
No,
chose
you didn't have to. No. You chose, but you didn't pay no real bills. You didn't have no skills. Knock it off. I'm gonna be honest, man. This is a whole mess. So even the way you're talking, it just sounds like, ugh. And how tall are you?
I'm 5'4",
How much do you weigh?
180.
Goodbye.
Because every black man I've dated, their type was always exotic.
My wife is beautiful.
No, can we actually talk about the fact that I knew that I was going to be a white man that came onto the screen before it?
So there seems to be an epidemic of young black women on the internet saying that they are no longer going to date black men, or at the very least, they're going to open up their dating pool to other races. And instead of calling them racist, the internet is agreeing with them. Let's talk about it.
As you can tell from some of these clips, they're rage bait. They give out visceral emotions. If you click on this video and it does well, and it'll be very funny if it doesn't, there will be an emotion that you feel. There's something enraging about comments about how men should be in relationships, how women should be in relationships. Do black women hate black men?
You see how he moves past it, bro?
There's something annoying about that, isn't it? There's something that irks you, or there's something maybe cathartic in that conversation. And I've noticed that a lot of the dialogue around this is exactly that. Not to have honest conversations while triggering you emotionally.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hey, that's what I'm doing. It is to just trigger you emotionally to engage with the content. Sometimes I do believe the advice from people are hurt people just giving out hurt advice.
As to what I believe creates a safe space for me. And that is passwords to your phone. I don't need keys to your house. I'm not saying I need the password on week 1. What I'm saying is, are you comfortable with doing that when we get to that space?
When we get to, but you're not asking that for week 1.
No. I'm not saying week 1, give me your password. Okay. I'm saying that when we move into that space, because now I'm feeling like I want to spend more time with you. I want to invest equity into this relationship.
Yes.
Equity for me in week 1 is time, conversation on the phone, and yes, you can fly me to come see you.
Yes.
That's equity for me.
That's fine.
Okay. But when we get to the space of now, this environment has become safe and my body is now feeling moved to want to be intimate with you.
Yes.
Or my heart is feeling moved to want to be committed to you. When we get there, I know that I'm going to ask for access. So I'm not going to set myself up to get there, ask for it, and then this is not what you're in alignment with, because the longer I stay, the more expensive it is for me to pull out.
Poor perspectives, lack of understanding of any nuance beyond what they see and understand. Some people speak well, but chat rubbish. Maybe I'm one of them, but I'm trying not to be. There's definitely a catharsis that some people feel for whatever reason, whether that's due to the society pressures that they feel in the male demographic or in the female demographic, just how they've been made to feel by society too. The pop the balloon guy who would constantly say,
yes, the feeling is definitely mutual. So that's okay. Thank you. You did me a favor.
You know, and I was, she's someone that's your type?
She all right. You know, you're not really my type. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
No disrespect.
You know, but if I seen you in public, I wouldn't reach out to you.
Totally fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm trying to say if I'm looking at particular body parts,
you just wasn't looking at my
eyes. What it is.
That's
no, I was looking at the hair on your
Anyways,
arms.
she asked me the question.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in heels and you ain't tall enough.
Okay.
Don't do too much.
Well,
though.
you're not qualified, baby.
Right,
so that's all good.
You're not qualified. I found him to just be a bit of a... He was funny, it was viral. Was he being genuine? Was it a bit of both? Was he just embarrassed? I couldn't tell you for the life of me. But it was funny and it was entertaining. You do have genuine moments like that that also invoke a bit of rage bait to it. It does harpen onto the theme of this video, and what I'm really trying to say is that are we put into a versus or constantly, especially in the black community, but generally in society, especially online. One of the biggest conversation points about black women and black men is the amount of interracial dating that goes online. If you look at the statistics, which I'll place here, you can see that statistically speaking, the vast majority of black men and women marry each other. Why is it that it's so visceral, so palpable, the feelings that black men date white women at an extraordinarily high level? Why is that?
Walk down the street with a white woman, he's telling the white world, I'm safe, I'm trustworthy, I'm acceptable. The white woman for the black man is a white surrender flag he holds up to the white power structure to say, I am buck broken and I'm here for being taken. Can a black man genuinely love a white woman? No.
No.
Or you're a bunny hopper?
Yes.
That's why you have a liberal perspective, because you go home to a white woman.
But that's not true. I felt this way before I met my white girlfriend.
Although your white girlfriend and possibly none of her family owned the slave,
They're from Portugal.
Although the Portuguese were some of the first ones in the slave trade.
The very
So
pioneers,
they built most of the dungeons in Africa. So I know she got racism in her veins because of the Portuguese role in the slave trade.
Well, there's some real fears. Black women are typically the least likely to be married compared to their other counterparts. They are also the most likely to marry someone who's earning less or earning less than the benchmark for their particular demographic, which will harpen into the later conversations about providers and how that's problematic. Anyway, you can see that those real fears are now being exploited by some people online. Just get a kick out of putting black women down. I don't know if I've said some of it might be catharsis because some men have been hurt by black women and they find this funny and entertaining. There seems to be a cult of tearing down black women, which is a problem, but you know, it is what it is. But also I think some black men that are dating white women, they enjoy the virality of it. They want to go viral. They're seeking acceptance through these insults of black women. And I think it's an easy way to gain engagement online. Dr. Umar is someone as well that doesn't help. His conversations around it doesn't help at all. I do believe he's using it as sort of a market employed to gain people into his cult of pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism as an ideology is not bad. I do not have the time to go into all the details of what pan-Africanism is and what it isn't. It was originally started by Marcus Garvey as a sort of black revolutionary kind of nationalistic black ideology. Nationalism, pan-Africanism, not ideologically bad, but some of the people behind it a bit more malevolent than they like to put out. Shout out to Dr. Umar's school. If anyone knows any updates on that, put into the comments if that school is even got a location. I actually think it's got a location, but you know, I don't know if that school's ever going to be built in it. Let's just call it what it is. And that can kind of tell you why he likes to trend online for things that he should know statistically are the less likely to happen than others. I am aware that the data that I provided is specifically about married couples. It doesn't do single couples, partnerships. However, it does provide some sort of a scope into this argument. It counters everything that Dr. Umar is saying.
Snow bunnies never. I said black queens forever, snow bunnies never. I said black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
Post-edit clip here. And the purpose of this clip is to kind of consolidate the Dr. Umar segment of it and to get my point across that essentially, why is it that this ideology, this idea of black men dating white women is so much more of a problem in its perception than the reality? Especially there's so many people out there trying to dispel it as well. Why is it so prominent? Why does it enter the discourse? Why does it contribute to why a lot of black women feel undesired, unloved by their own, contributing to some of the vitriol online? Why is that?
Racism.
And that's because society in general, when black men and black people in general behave outside of the norm, it tends to be the most sensationalized, the most explosive information, and it's where you get the takedowns more. Dr. Umar himself is a part of the problem, whether it's cynically to manipulate attention towards his product, which is his school, which might be the fraud.
Donations. 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 Gifts. Gifts. Gifts.
Or unill-informed, which I very much doubt because he's far too intelligent a man to be that ill-informed about it. Maybe he's picking on the minority as a way to kind of behave like a pick-me. But I wanted to put that in here to consolidate that this aspect contributes heavily to the dialogue between black women and black men online. And it's funny when the picture is juxtaposed, it's never as bad. When black women are dating white men, it doesn't have the same vitriol. One, because they don't behave like fools online. It's got to be said. Because black men online, when they're dating black women, they wear it like a mask of identity. It's as if it shapes their character. However, that being said, I do believe this is an example of when black men do something outside the social norm, it gets the most sensationalized, the most vitriol from the public, and sadly, it's our very own that tear us down the most. It's a shame. I do not date any white women, never really have. However, I wanted to put that out there, wanted to consolidate that argument with Dr. Umar, make you understand how it's such a big contributing factor to it. And we're gonna go to our regularly scheduled programming. There might be another post-edit clip. There might be one more. Forgive me.
Guys literally know how to look past all of their feelings and do what's best for them.
Women are literally taught to center men at the core of their existence, even from like childhood.
I said earlier in the video that some people online are just hurt people giving out hurt advice from a hurt perspective. And some people are just miserable and want you to be miserable with them. Some of this advice, there's a nuance of truth to it. There's elements of it being empowering. The decentralized men, I can get behind it a little bit, but the more you listen to it, the more you hear.
Believes that if you make major life decisions like marriage or kids or maybe even career when you're too young, because your frontal lobe isn't fully developed, you are going to make the grave mistake of taking a single role in your life and making it your entire identity, because you don't have anything else to build that identity. So your entire personality is going to be rooted in one role. Like those girls on Facebook that you went to high school with whose entire personality is being a wife and mom. That's not healthy, and that's why we need to decentralize men. 2, that whole argument of if he doesn't, it's okay, another man will, that might be all well and true, but the focus shouldn't be on if another man will. The focus should be if he doesn't, that's fine, because I still have a beautiful life to get back to, and it is not diminished in any way due to the absence of a male presence. Decentralized men.
The more it just sounds like hurt women giving up hurt advice, which was the manosphere in a nutshell.
Why could you not see yourself? I don't know about you too, but I've seen Myron talk about it mostly. Why do you not see yourself ever being able to fall in love with a woman? You said that you would have love for one, but never fall in love with one.
Because all rationality and objectivity goes out the window once you fall in love with a woman as a man. And that's when you open yourself up and you become susceptible to making really bad decisions, like hitting a woman or attacking a woman because of your emotions blinding you.
But men are really good at being stoic. So they should be able to, like...
You lose that stoicism once you fall in love with a woman.
I don't think so.
You do. Because the reason why is because men love women for real. Like, we don't love women on like what they provide. Mm-hmm. We love women ideally. Like, it's the closest to idealistic loving that you're gonna get, right?
Shout out to Fresh and Fit again, but you can see that a lot of their advice is just to appeal to the most primal sensibilities with no nuance, no understanding, and no compassion of how things really play out. A lot of the dating advice out there is quite simplistic. It either plays into a very white patriarchal understanding of what a male should be, specifically a black male, and that is the same for the females. And this is where I really get into the versus black women versus black men, how we've been pitted together by white patriarchy for the benefit of not only of their pennies, but views, which is the worst part of it. Because some of these people aren't even getting paid off these views. Neither am I, but if you subscribe, I might.
What in that book teaches them how to be a better woman for a better man?
So
what part?
No, this book teaches them how to decipher. No, this book teaches, it's about relationships. It's not about, this book teaches you how to decipher what's what out there and how to get what you can before giving what the man wants. It never says don't give it to them. It doesn't, I don't promote prostitution. Obviously the end goal is to be with a person and find a person who's gonna provide and take care of you. But before you get that, you need to know how to identify the dusties, stay away from the brokies.
For thee, so she can be a better woman for better man.
This book is not for men. This book is for women to stand in their power, and women deserve to be selfish because
no togetherness.
The reason why women let me tell you why women deserve to be selfish, because when we decide, time out, let me speak.
This depiction of men being the providers lacks nuance, lacks any sort of real understanding of what the pressures that gives to a man, the struggles, the anxiety, the isolation, the depression, the performance anxiety that can happen. This was actually displayed in Insecure when one of the characters, the main leads, became the provider, was looking after everything, and he ended up not being able to get erect.
Change the subject.
Sorry. Saying erect is really ridiculous, but you know what I meant. He couldn't get the soldiers to stand up because of his anxiety, and these are very real factors for men in terms of their providing, the pressures to provide, the isolation, the fear of failing that comes with it, and not to speak about leaving women to deal with the more household things, because that's easy, right? Women are in their feminine, right? But we forget that the generation that did that also had anxieties, also had fears. Black women are constantly put in a position where they have to perform black girl magic. Shout out to my guy FD Signifier, I want to say FDMG, what the hell? FD Signifier for pointing out that the black girl magic effect.
However, one thing they don't really tackle is in that time frame, it doesn't really engage with the fact that Mia has to work and be black girl magic throughout her child's earliest years. That is something, again, I don't see a lot of discourse around.
We have this neoliberal girl bossy image of the woman that works through childcare and maybe makes enough money to outsource her domestic labor that is missing from the home to someone else. And while that's fine if that's what works, it doesn't engage with what it feels like to be a mother who has to leave their child to be in an office, especially for Black mothers, for which motherhood historically has always been a complex and perilous reality to face.
Is ridiculous. Black women are constantly put in a scenario where they have to live up to an idealistic standard of what a good mom is, be patient, sometimes juggle a career, look after a household, pay for things, do the shopping, and also make sure her man is all right, handling all parental responsibilities while the man is out there working. I'm not saying the man ain't doing nothing, but I'm saying that in and of itself creates pressures on both sides. But the dialogue around men just provided, putting women in their feminine, I'm not saying don't put women in their feminine, you know, but it's such a simplistic way of looking at it that it lacks nuance, and it could lead to people thinking that any sort of divergent feeling, any feeling of struggle is akin to failure. When you have a bad day that you failed, the fear itself creates a fear of having the fear of not living up to the expectation. We should have a bit more of a nuanced conversation. Hey, I'm here for people to go viral. I'm here for people to say the nonsense they want to say, but eventually we're gonna have to have a real come to Jesus moment about these conversations about providing and putting women in their feminine and their masculine. It's nonsense. It lacks no depth, and I believe it's a cult. And the reason I believe it's a cult is because it does more to make you feel good. It sounds right. Even as a man, it appeals to our sensibilities of protecting and providing and keeping women safe. When in fact, love itself is a very irrational and unsafe emotion. And we don't have enough complex, deep conversations about that. And anytime people even touch the surface about Black love, it tends to be in this Disney-fied way that really avoids the real realities that love can be quite difficult at times.
Just a low vibration.
Low function.
Yeah. Low function.
Very low function.
So what is your definition of high value? Because to me, it just sounds like high value to you is like superficial stuff.
High value just means that it's pretty much like you're making a lot of money. You have a lot of tangible things. Your high value.
Your value is high.
Your value is high, and your monetary value. Your value is high. Meaning, you got a man who's making $100 million, then he's high valued, and women who are superficial, but I'm not knocking y'all, sis, okay? Are very attracted to that. But again, are they choosing the man or are they choosing the value?
The value.
But some people are so poor, all they got is money.
And so,
you know what I mean?
And that goes to where this is going to be a very, very unpopular opinion, or very popular, but it's going to cause a lot of controversy. I always say, if you realize the most prettiest, beautiful women, many of them, men have put a baby in them, but they made a wife out of them.
Post-edit clip here, guys. I wanted to consolidate the ideas. I don't know how clear I was. This segment is particularly about dating advice, the problems with dating advice, how it kind of like facilitates the arguments between men and women, in this particular case, Black women, Black men. And you've seen some of the clips. You've seen some of the Dr. Umar clips. You've seen Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, who some people claim she's not a doctor. She is a doctor, 100%. She's got a doctorate, but for some reason people online don't know the difference between a doctorate and a medical doctor. It's crazy, but the online is a crazy place, which goes to my point that we gotta have a bit, I always say this, a discerning eye, but just watch them. Look how fast Dr. Umar talks. He talks so fast that sometimes you don't even fully absorb the point or understand the point. It just sounds more convincing than it is true, especially in the case when it comes to the snow bunnies, where you can see there's a manipulation going on. Or maybe misinformed, but I doubt he's way too clever for that. And that doesn't mean everything he's saying is a lie.
To see him take care of people who are not even citizens, while we got homeless Blacks, disabled Blacks out there, veterans who not getting what they're supposed to, I can't support that crap. To watch him take care of the Native Americans and the homosexuals and the Asian hate bill and all this, and billions to Ukraine and billions to Israel, and not do nothing for me, he can't get my vote. But when I look at Trump, I look at the fact that he signed more death warrants, federal death warrants, his last term than any president since slavery. And when I look at the fact that he wants to give the police complete immunity, they're killing us now. Once they get complete immunity, you can't even question what they did. You know how many Black folks are gonna die on these streets? So for me, I have very strong, compelling reasons to not vote for either. And I don't have a good a good reason to vote for either. So neither one of them getting my vote. I'll probably vote for one of my ancestors or something.
Doesn't mean everything Dr. Cheyenne Bryant says is garbage. I'll get to her in a moment. But you can see the problems and their own limitations in some of their arguments. Dr. Umar is clearly playing into some sort of stereotype for your attention in his alleged school. And Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, I think she has her own insecurities, her own fears. She is really good at holding men accountable. How she held Nick Cannon.
So as long as you keep fleeing,
that's why I'm shifting my ass out the door.
But that's what you've been doing. But that allows you to stay in abandonment. That allows you to stay.
I'm comfortable with my abandonment.
Because you are in your dysfunctional norm that you become comfortable with.
But it's worked. It's become a superpower.
But you've learned to survive in it. You're not thriving in that. That's not thriving. You're surviving in that. Okay. And so anytime you are surviving and not thriving, there is no cape. There is no superpower. There's no superpower in a lack of mental health. And there's no superpower.
But it's worked for me. Like you said, I mean,
you know why it
you
worked
ran
for you?
me well.
You know why it worked for you?
Why?
You know why it worked for you? I'm gonna go there, and it's probably gonna be okay.
Go ahead.
This is with
we wanted to set the first. We got 2 minutes left in our first session.
With all due respect, seriously, to all the women that you've encountered, ladies, I'm saying this. The reason why it's worked for you is because you have chosen and to prey on low-functioning women who don't have the emotional intelligence. No, I'm going there. Who will allow you to do that, Nick? And when I say allow, it's not a control thing. When I say allow, I'm not saying that she sits across you and says, this is what you won't do, you're crossing a boundary. Nick.
I disagree.
And holding Cam Newton accountable.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active, okay? So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent, they are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies, because I can't wait to be a mom, and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all, will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm gonna go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. So at what point do you feel the fear, do it anyways? And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior.
Brilliant. Stuff of internet legend, to be honest. It went down in infamy. It's one of the bigger talking points of 2024. It doesn't succumb, though, to the fact that it still creates a lot of shortcomings in the dialogue about relationships, and so many things have been missed out of that. You saw in the original video that what really forms a good relationship, what binds a good relationship together, is communication, which will be the clip that will precede this post-edit clip. My final post-edit clip, by the way. You are towards the end, I know it's gone on. That communication is key. Talking together is key. Listening, understanding each other is key. Giving yourself time and patience as well. But also the problem with the conversation of providing and feminine and being in your masculinity is it reduces you to archetypes. It doesn't make you be a whole person where both people, men and females, have both masculine and feminine energy within them. You come from masculine and feminine. You will be in that energy at different points and different times in your life. And as a good leader, as a good person, you need to be able to dance many roles. The conversation doesn't do that because the archetype eviscerates so much palpable emotion. Not eviscerate, sorry. Extrapolate so much visceral emotion that you want to side with that argument, the manosphere argument. Even to me that sees the problem with it, sometimes I'm like, damn, that's convincing and inspiring. especially if you're suffering from low self-esteem, if you're having problems with your relationship, if you've had relationship problems, which I've had many. So I understand the connection.
No. Responsibility and authority are linked. This is what most people forget, especially men in the world today. You have to have authority to have responsibility. The reason the captain of the ship goes down with the ship is because he has responsibility for the ship. And the reason he has responsibility is because he has authority for what happens. If he says, man the sails, people man the sails. So if something goes wrong with the ship, it's his fault. If he says man the sails and everyone ignores him, how can he be held responsible for what happens upon the ship? He can't. If you want me to pay the bills, if you want me to protect you, if you want me to have responsibility for you, if you want to come to me with all of your problems, then I need authority over you. How can I allow myself to fix all your problems when I have no authority to prevent problems in the first place? So this woman's already acting out of turn. That's the first thing.
It doesn't negate from the fact that these conversations are limited. They have no understanding of long-term relationships. And in the case of Cheyenne Bright, I mean, sometimes she just doesn't sound accountable.
Can he be a younger man?
He may have to, because I want a man with no kids, because I want my own family.
You want a man with no kids?
So go down,
This
Nick.
nigga ain't out there.
Go
You
down,
looking for Jesus.
Yes.
And he still ain't came back.
Can we please find Jesus? You know, at least Jesus,
You want a single,
Jesus could carry the cross.
rich,
Jesus could be
high functioning,
yes.
smart.
Yes.
That nigga is not. He got
Jesus
bitches.
could be crucified and saved and resurrected. Yes. God, bring me Jesus.
There is no single man with no kids that is rich.
Nick,
that
date
man
them.
does not know.
I date them.
They
date them all the time.
They ain't where they at.
Baby, I date them. They're dating. We're still dating. I don't have to rush into marriage because
that are single.
Yes.
Fully single.
Fully
not
single.
Just you.
Fully single.
No kids.
Fully single. No kids, baby. And they're younger though. They're 32, 33. They're younger.
Okay,
yes. I'm not saying they 40. They are younger.
All right. But even those dudes, come on now.
No.
I'm going to share a little insider information. This is my favorite clip from the episode because you see both points of view. You see the problem with male's point of view sometimes with this depiction of masculinity, and you see some of the problems with femininity, some of the discourse from the females online, the problem sometimes you have with dating spaces and the discourse they put online, same with the male spaces in the case of Nick Cannon, because he has one idea, one ideology of how men behave when they reach and attain a certain level of success, what you deem as success. And Cheyenne Bryant's comments about what she believes is she deserves, what she believes a high-functioning woman deserves, I think it's limited. I think it portrays a very poor image. And it's very, I mean, she spoke about her father having 6 kids from 3 or 4 different women. I think she's projecting a little bit, which is fine, we all do it. But it's problematic in the long run. And this is the problem with a lot of the conversations that you see online, that most of them are either these Disney-fied, unrealistic expectations or very niche expectations at least, or hyper-masculinity. And we don't have enough nuanced conversations about what is really going on. And I want to make this final point before we go into the final segment of the video, which will be a conclusion. Do black men and black women hate each other? Put into the comments what you think. Are they being manipulated by a white patriarchal power structure that reduces you to cogs in a will? And what I mean by that is the pressures to provide, the pressures to be mum, to be a mum, to be a great mum, or to be a great father. Does that remove your humanity? Does that remove your mental health? Isn't it funny, a society that tells you as a man, provide, 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 also tells you, oh, be aware of your mental health. Sometimes it seems contradictory. And my point in this, even with women, be the best mum you can be, but what about time for yourself? Oh, self-love is so important. It seems contradictory, doesn't it? And at times you have to funnel more energy into one thing in order to provide for the whole. Ask yourself, should we be listening to society's ideas of what a man and woman should be in a relationship? Or whatever you want to be in between? Should we listen to it? Or should we not make sense of what makes sense for us and our own understandings of each other in that moment? I'm gonna leave you with that. I hope that makes sense. And I hope you know that is the eventual point of what this episode is. Do black men and black women hate each other? Absolutely not. Does it make good bang for your buck having them adversarially against each other? I think so. Check out this clip.
I asked a married couple who'd been married for 54 years. They said, make sure you're communicating, make sure you talk about finances, and make sure y'all make time to connect every week. I said, connect. She said, you know what I mean, connect. I said, yes, ma'am. I respected that. And she said, connect because we're attached to so many different things. Our phones, our jobs, our stress, our children. There we get caught up in so many different things that after everything is done, this is your person. You know what I mean? And I was so taken back by that because she was absolutely right. At the end of the day, it's me and him.
It involves struggle. It involves working through things. It involves coalition, working together, lifting each other's loads when you can. Why for that a little bit?
The way they're going to use you. The way they're going to...
And I understand that we live in a capitalist society. This matters intensely. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. But in seriousness, finances matter a lot. And there's something that they should be discussed. But also, equally, we don't talk about the after effects of that. When one person is the provider, the pressures that come with that too. How do you share the load? How do you create a coalition within a home? How do you leave both people as much as possible feeling that they're in an equal partnership? It's not easy. I'm not trying to say it's easy at all. But far too often we have cookie cutter conversations coming from people who have never been in serious committed relationships, and if they have, it was a long time ago. Don't ask me the last time I was in a relationship.
As it pertains to that statement, you're full of it.
And I do think sometimes depictions are important. I don't think often enough that we have a lot of good depictions of what real love looks like. You either have the struggle love of Krishan and Blueface. You either have people who talk about providing and being a provider in such a good, well-versed way that appeals to every woman's, raw innate need to be looked after. And when you ask them a follow-up question,
when it comes to the that provides for me, I'm a very feminine
But what you
woman.
gonna provide for him? We live in 2023, almost 2024, sweetie.
You have to speak to the men that like those type of women as what those women provide for them. I just come to the table being me,
They've really got nothing of substance to say back in terms of what they're tangibly offering. Some of them are idiots, but some of them really are just talking points to go viral and get your attention and make a buck. Let's keep it a band. And the guys talking about providing themselves do not talk enough about the isolation and anxiety that is caused by it. And when they do, it's really just get over it, which in some point you're gonna have to do. But in truth of the matter of the fact is, it's not as simple as that. And those feelings can destroy, and it can leave relationships without communication. Just be a little bit more keenly aware that many people online are talking points, talking things that they heard, don't even know if they believe it themselves, don't know if they even act it themselves. And before you indoctrinate yourself into the cult, ask yourself, do you even believe what they're saying? And do you believe that they believe what they're saying? Relationships are hard. Dating is hard. But you have to go in with an open heart and an open mind. There seems to be a total lack of empathy on both sides of what the black female experiences and what the black male experiences. And online it just seems to be this cesspool of just rage bait or Disney-fied nonsense.
We ride together,
we die together.
Bad marriage for life.
I think it's important to add this bit here, that I've spoken a lot about love and perseverance, but there's a key aspect in the rage bait that you see, that argument shouldn't cross that line. Although sometimes they can get a bit muddy, they should never get dirty to a place where you are sharing or using each other's intimate pain to hurt one another. That should be the sacred rule within arguments in a relationship. Once you cross that line, there's really no going back. Talking from experience here, let me keep it real. But also, despite maybe conflicts, disagreements, if two people realize that they are happier with each other than without, then that's when love perseveres, that's when love wins. And I believe that should be the most important and clearest message when discussing relationships, conflict, and conflict resolution. Of course, listen to each other, understand the other person, use empathy. But are you happier with this person than not? And if that's the answer, then have at it, horse. So in closing, do I believe black women hate black men? Or do I believe black men hate black women? Absolutely not. I don't even believe those guys that go viral online for loving their white partner, typically white girlfriend, black male. I don't even believe they believe what they're saying. I don't believe they hate black females that much. I think sometimes they may be hurt, definitely. And there's a conversation to do about what pain does to you and how pain can create cycles of hatred. But I do believe quite often the algorithm manipulates us into believing that some of the rage bait is an actual tangible feeling in the real world. I think most people can see even the most outrageous things, but though sometimes they may align with the point, understand the point, I don't believe they fully believe the point. And I believe that on both sides, but I believe for two main reasons that it is profitable for us to versus each other. A, feeds into the social media machine. Our attention is sold. If anything is sold for free, the product is you. And secondly, I think the conversations around dating expectations, particularly in the black community, fit a white patriarchal standard that not only doesn't benefit black men, black females, but also white females, white males. But that's a conversation for another day. This is not a sociology lesson. This was supposed to be a quick take. I have gone almost half an hour into this. I hope you enjoyed the episode though. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I made sense. Tell me if I was rambling. Can't wait to hear from you next week. Peace.
It's hard to love somebody more than you love yourself.
Baby.
It hurt me to see him like that. I love my wife to death. I've done disrespectful and wrong. So to see him feel like that, and I understand, like, you don't want to hurt your other. But sometimes when you come from people don't really get what he's saying. He's in pain. He loves her more than he loves himself.